not just perfect, she's truly perfect. And that is gone. That's a great backhanded effort. Sammy Butler slides into home. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Softball SA Action live from West Beach in sunny South Australia. Where the weather's been turned on for us today. Welcome, Lee Hull.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon to everybody out there watching, and listening, and wherever you are. It's a perfect Saturday afternoon. Turned out like that last Saturday, but because the grounds were too wet to play on, we didn't do it, so we played on Tuesday evening. Not today. Perfect.
Absolute sensational conditions. Well, we are back with the Adelaide Club competition, and today's matchup is between the Glenelg Rebels and the Hills Heat. Now, this, Lee, is our first opportunity to see both sides on the live stream coverage that we provide you each and every week, thanks to Space Quake Sports. And on screen now is US international import Zoe Connolly, who's done a pretty good job so far for the Rebels.
Yes, she has, and haven't the imports made a big difference to this team? Glenelg, they have been really impressive. Without scoring a lot of runs, they've been very tight defensively, and that's due to the second base, the shortstop, and of course the pitcher. All imports, 2 from America, 1 from the Czech Republic.
Some international flavour. We might touch on the performances so far of the season between the two sides, and but first let's get to the action. Leadoff hitter for the Hills Heat is their captain, Amber Hood. That's right in there for a strike, and Lee came in at 100 k's an hour.
Well, it's quick, isn't it? And she's been very impressive, Zoe.
She has an effortless motion, doesn't she? It looks like she's got a little bit left in the tank. And this one, again, 100 k's, and Amber fouls this one off. It might have been a little inside, and just trying to get the timing of that pitch. But Connolly's gone ahead of the count early in the match.
Yeah, and her
high for a ball.
Her attitude never changes, James. Sorry, that's what I was going to say. She has the same look about her, whether she struck somebody out or whether she's walked them or they've got a long ball.
How important is composure as a pitcher?
Certainly is, isn't it? It's a big important step.
Strikeout called on the outside corner, so Connolly gets her first victim, and Lee, that might give us a good opportunity to take us around the diamond.
I will, James. For the Rebels, playing at first base, it's Bree McGee. Second base, it's Vana Malkova. Third base is Ashley Mead, and at shortstop, Tori Pogue.
Swing and a miss for the hitter, Chantel Humphries. Keep going, Lee.
And the last line of defence, short of the fence, it's left field is Regan Lambert, centre field Caitlin Carroll, and right field Megan Wheatley.
Montana Edwards catching, and in record time, Lee, that ball just goes foul. Chantel Lewis just millimetres away from an extra base hit. Great to see the return of Megan Wheatley. She's out at right field chasing after this ball. She had a year off last year, and Alicia Mead, of course, on third, had a bit of a breakout year, the young Rebel. She was one of their top hitters last year, and those stats very gratefully received from Lindy Radigan and her team of statisticians.
Yes, certainly.
Another strikeout for Conley. She's got off to a cracking start. Chantel Lewis goes down swinging, and here's going to be an absolute terrific battle right here, right now. Georgia Hood hitting 3 for the Hills Heat. She had her birthday yesterday, Lee, and a welcome addition to this Hills Heat side that have missed her in the midweek games that they're playing.
Certainly the results show that, don't they? What you need to do, not to do with this girl, Georgia, is to put the ball up in the air. Because if you do, it's going. So you got to keep it down.
That one was down. It was the bottom of the zone for a called strike. High and outside for a ball. So maybe a bit of a strategy here for Connolly. She's thrown her first pitch strike for all 3 batters, and it's been hard and it's been down. So
Yep.
every Hills Heat batter, though, has watched it.
I think everybody's aware of this batter's potential.
High for a ball. That one didn't come out of the hand as quickly as the others. It's just at 97. I'm saying just at 97. It's anything around triple figures is getting up there in elite territory in this competition. Piece of the ball up the middle, and Georgia Hood will get the Hills Heat going. Rocks one up the middle for a single, and they've got a base runner lead.
Yes, so that's a start for Glenelg. I've predicted this game to be a 3-1 win to Glenelg. Have you made a prediction yet, James?
No, I try and keep pretty neutral on the...
Me too.
Alex Mackey for the Hills Heat. It's had a pretty good season so far. She's hitting 4, which tells a bit of a story, doesn't it? It means that she's been contributing in the early part of the season. They've played 6 games, so believe it or not, Lee, already a quarter of the way through the season. High, but she gets a piece of it, but goes foul. Bree McGee takes it in foul territory. Georgia Hood returns back to first, and a 1-1 count now for Mackey.
Yeah, very consistent player, Alex Mackey, and she's done most of the catching this year, but Georgia Ballard, the young girl, gets a go today.
That's very exciting for Georgia Ballard. She's in the state under-16 team. Speaking of state teams, Alex Mackey has gone from state player to state coach in the blink of an eye. She's part of our Dragons program as a coach, and already a level 3 coach. She was our Community Coach of the Year award winner last season as well. So she is leaps and bounds into coaching, and this year, head coach of the under-14 girls regional team.
Yeah, and it was an easy transition to a person like her. She make a very good coach.
High, and catches her swinging outside the zone. So 3 strikeouts for Zoe Conley. She strikes out the side, but her only blemish was Georgia Hood's single, which was a terrific shot. Lee, she got a good piece of the ball. She didn't try to overhit it.
No.
And she found herself safely aboard on first base. Well, after the first half of the inning, it is a 0-0 ball game. Lee, we get a bit of a chance now to talk about the key players in each team. Of course, we know Georgia and Amber Hood, who will lead the Hills Heat team. But for mine, I think we're going to keep our eye on Danny Perez. She's probably had a bit of a slower start to the year than what most would consider. And if you haven't been down to see the live action, she's normally up the top of the order for the Hills Heat, but she's batting a little lower today. But I'm looking at her to step up for the Hills Heat.
Yeah, I think she's a very good player, Danny, and she's the sort of player you want in your side. You had 5 or 6 of them like that, makes life easier. Delightful young lady, and she can play.
Lee, I might go around the field for the Hills Heat, and the reason why I want to do this is because I want to just point out that every single player that they've got in the team is a very capable player, have played at a higher representative level as well. So Georgia Hood pitching to Georgia Ballard, Alex Mackey at first, Chantel Lewis at second, Amber Hood short, Danny Perez at third, the outfield Mackenzie Ween, Maddie Rocha and Courtney May. Every single one of them has represented the state before. Current state representatives are your pitcher and shortstop in the Stars squad in Amber and Georgia Hood. Danny Perez was and Courtney May were both junior Aussie squad members that went to Friendship Series. And, you know, amongst them, they've all had the talented experience leading up to their A-grade careers in junior state teams, and some of them moving onwards and upwards. So they should be a good lineup today.
Yes, I think this is probably as good. Oh,
Kaylin Carroll gets after the first pitch, something that the Hills Heat didn't do. And she takes full advantage of the pitch down the middle and gets herself a single.
Well, this is interesting times here now. Megan Wheatley can bunt the ball. I've seen her at under-19 Nationals when they won here in 2015. Lovely bunter of the ball. Like that.
Textbook. Good play from Mackey. Lays the tag, and Well, you touched on the National Championship. Caitlin Carroll was a part of that as well. So batters 1 and 2 both have a national title under their belts with South Australian under-19s in 2015. This batter is Bree McGee for the Rebels. We just saw the statewide super replay of that bunt. Great play by Alex Mackey. Good calling from Georgia Ballard, just catching the outside edge for a called strike.
For a young person, Georgia Ballard's been around a long time, it seems, James.
Foul ball from McGee. Good bloodline in sport. Abby Ballard, her older sister, of course, played in the Hills Heat inaugural season, but as she is such a good football player, she's turned her attention to AFLW. Strikeout with a terrific change of pace, 78 Ks, Lee, on that change up from Georgia Hood, and the second out of the inning.
Perfect pitch at the right time to throw it.
Well, for those watching at home and around the world, this young lady up to bat now, Tori Pogue from the USA, went to college at Cal Berkeley, teammates with Steph Trzynski. Last year's Kath Cole medalist Katie Sutherland-Finch, and Glenelg's pitcher Zoe Connolly. So part of the Cal Berkeley family to come and play here in Adelaide. And Lee, I've only seen little bits of her, and from what I can tell, she can play.
She looks like a player, James, doesn't she? And now it's probably wrong of me to say that, but you can just tell.
Hitting for the Rebels, and she came a little into the season, didn't she? She's only played, what, one or two games so far for the Rebels. She hit an RBI single against Walkerville and Jessie Dressick. That one's a called strike on the outside edge. Wasn't the slower change up 78 Ks that struck out Bree McGee, but it was 91 Ks, so off pace for Georgia Hood. So really mixing it up here.
Yeah, smart turn it here.
Just getting away from Ballard, and Caitlin Carroll does have the wheel. She was going to always get there safely on that pass ball, and a runner in scoring position now for Pogue with a full count.
Just got to throw the best pitch here.
Yeah, I'd try and catch something on the outside edge. That's where it goes, and Georgia Hood will make the out, tagging out the runner, doing it herself. Great coverage in the field from Georgia Hood, the champ, and the Hills Heat get out of that inning. It's 0-0 after 1. Lee, I'd mentioned the Hills team. Now we can go into the Rebels team. First look at them, as we said, American pitchers, Zoe Connolly and the utility infielder Tori Pogue. But as we go around their diamond, we've already heard their lineup. You can see that they've got state under-23 representative Regan Lambert's out there, and Megan Wheatley, we spoke of her national champion, and the Czech import as well, friend of Barb Skopova from last season. So g'day Barb if you're watching, and also Peter Puckle, who'll be watching in New South Wales. He contacted me during the week to say that he's friends with Ivana at second base. And then you have Montana Edwards behind the plate. She's been to a friendship series as well with the junior Aussie squad, so they're not going to be pushovers at all. Now, they've lost 3 games this year, Lee, and we were talking before the show that all 3 of their games that they've lost are a total combined margin of 3 runs. So each of their losses have been by 1 run. So they've been in every game that they've played in, including top of the table, West Torrens. They had a 0-0 draw. I mean, you can't get closer than that. But
tells you something about the quality out there, James.
Yeah, this team will be one to watch as we get back started with the action here in the top of the second inning. And Danny Perez gets up to the first pitch. This ball's going to go one bounce and into the right field fence. She turns 1. She's going to turn 2. And the Hills Heat on the first pitch of the second inning have a runner standing up safely on third. Perez with a big smile on her face.
Well, you mentioned her name earlier, James, and we both agreed that she can play, and we just saw an instance there. And wonderful backing up from Regan Lambert then, because there was a run there, but Regan was in perfect backup position at third.
Courtney May shows bunt for the Hills Heat. Apologies for that. I just was interrupted there for a second. Might have to put the barricades up again, Lee, to protect the commentary.
Protect the innocents.
All right, Zoe Conley for the Rebels needs to tighten the screws a little bit with a runner threatening on third. Courtney May with a good swing, good confident swing, but she will go even in, behind in the count. 0-2 now.
Well,
Two strikes is the count.
The first pitch Courtney went, it looked like a squeeze, but the runner wasn't going too hard, so I don't know what that was.
Outside edge for a ball well left from Courtney May. Just getting the ball into play is going to be important because that'll put the defensive pressure on the Rebels.
That's where you put the pressure back on them.
Piece of the ball is foul. It was slightly up, wasn't it? But probably better to defend the strike zone and foul the ball off rather than leave it in the hands of the umpire.
Yeah, especially with a runner at third.
2-2 the count now. Swing and a miss. So 4 strikeouts for Zoe Conley to start the game. She's allowed 2 base runners, 1 single from Georgia Hood and a triple from Danny Perez, who's standing on third right now. Great bunt, Georgia Ballard. Squeeze play, Danny Perez is going to fall short. Georgia Ballard did pretty well to get that bunt down, and Montana Edwards right up to the task. Zoe Conley here. Let's watch the statewide super replay. The pitcher will do the fielding. Edwards gets into a great position, takes the ball early, blocks the plate, so not giving Perez any opportunity to score. And defensively, the Rebels have come out on top there. Georgia Ballard got safe on first. And so the Hills give up that runner on third for a runner at first. Great defense from the Rebels.
Yeah, and the catcher speed up rule's been implemented with Danny Perez, who's just put out. She's going at the run for Georgia Ballard, so she can get ready for the next innings.
High for a ball on Maddie Rocha. Nothing wrong with that bunt from Georgia Ballard.
No,
she got it down and on the ground to give the runner every opportunity, but probably just picked out the fielder. If it went left or right of the pitcher, probably would have scored.
Yeah, well, I think that maybe Hills gave the plot away a little early when Courtney May went for like a squeeze bunt, initially in this innings, and maybe the defense were ready because Zoe is off the pitching rubber quick as a flash.
Rocha watches this one high for a ball.
Batting a fair way down for a player of her capabilities, I think, Maddie. Just my own opinion.
Who would forget the start of last season that she had? I think she was 600 or something after the first 4 or 5 games and started the season on fire. Great piece, aggressive swing, but it goes foul. So 2 out. Conley's been involved in each of the plays. 2 balls, 2 strikes is the count here in the top of the second. We've got a countdown clock in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Checks and fouls that one up to stay alive in the count. Countdown clock starts at 85 minutes. So when we get to 0, it means no new innings can start. If we do start a new inning, it has to be completed in the A-grade competition.
That's fine. That explains it for everybody out there in television land.
Change of pace. That one floated in.
Yeah.
So slow that it didn't even register on the speed gun.
Yeah, it's about 40 clicks slower, her change up. It's completely change of pace.
Fouls off again, so full count and fouls off that first attempt.
Getting the money's worth, Matty.
Rocha covers up and gets a ball 4 walk, and 2 runners aboard for the Hills Heat. They've been on haven't they? They've had a few base runners here in Danny Perez triple, Georgia Hood single, and now Maddie Rocha gets a walk. So 2 runners on base.
Well, they'll be disappointed here, the green team, if they get out of here with no runs after getting 3 on, especially with the leader getting a triple.
Mackenzie Wing now chops the ball, and it's close to the line, but it goes foul. And that was a bit of a havoc ball, didn't it? It created a bit of havoc with no fielders really committing to come and get it, although they all went for it. And all the runners were, well, it's 2 out, we've got to get moving.
Yeah, just beaten by pace then, I think. Cairns.
Swing and a miss. Connolly up around the 100 mark again.
Now the team thing comes into play, doesn't it? 2 strikes on the batter, 2 out, 2 on. Shorten up, just punch the ball somewhere if you can.
Get it into play. High for a ball. Great hands from Mackenzie Ween. She was ready to protect the strike zone.
Yep.
Pulled out right at the right moment. So not a bad turn at bat so far from Ween.
Can't afford to go down looking here.
Well, you've called it again, Lee. Can't afford to go down looking, and that is what she's done. But that's a credit to the pitching, because she's got that outside edge, which is absolutely so dangerous. And, you know, any part of the ball that clips the edge of the plate is going to count as a called strike. But
well, full credit to the pitcher then, because she could have thrown it anywhere, but she chose to make it a strike, and we saw the result. Bad luck for the green team, but promising, getting 3 people on.
yeah, they've had their chances, and now they go to defense, and the young gun pitcher, Georgia Hood, she's up for another State Sport Award. Lee, Country Athlete of the Year last year, and she's up for it again this year. She actually holds the key here for the Hills Heat, because they've had to play a number of midweek games with that rain out, and then the scheduled Wednesday night games. They're the only team to give up 10 in a game, and that's happened twice, both against Walkerville. They've given up 40 runs against in the season, but they're a totally different team when Georgia Hood's on the mound. They've had their win against Seacombe, and then they had a couple of other close games as well. So she's going to hold the key today in that win against Seacombe, by the way. It was 2 home runs, 1 to Amber Hood, 1 to Georgia Hood.
Yep.
2-0 game. Montana Edwards leads off the inning, and another tag play and out made. So the first out of the inning comes off the first pitch. Statewide super replay. She'll chop it down into the ground, and
Been a few put-outs, hasn't there, around the first base area, and it's due to the pace of the pitches, no doubt.
what do you think of that, Lee? The runner not taking the tram tracks.
I have no comment.
Oh, let's leave it there. Georgia Hood versus Regan Lambert now to bat. She watches that one through for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. High for a ball, and
Regan was batting in the position number 1 most of the last season, but finds herself around, mixing up a bit in positions, just trying to get a bit of stability.
swing and a miss on a 77 km/h changeup. Great variance of pace, because she definitely got the hitter swinging on that pitch that just died as it reached the plate.
And you need to have quick hands against somebody like George.
Low, but catches that outside edge, just as Zoe Connolly had done the inning prior. So the team should know by now that that pitch is going to get called. It is 2 quick outs in the bottom of the second, and this brings up to bat Alicia Mead.
Yeah, she was spoken about how good she was last year batting. And some of her hits I saw was, you know, more than 1 base hits. They were doubles, and for a person of slight stature like she has, she can hit the ball a fair way. Georgia Hood's right on the game here from the start, isn't she, James? This is obvious.
Yeah, she looks dialed in, so always good to see your pitcher on song, and as is Zoe Connolly. So pitching duel, which has been the theme of the season so far, hasn't it? We've seen so many tight games decided by one or less, and a few games where the teams have won by scores of 1 or 2. Alicia Mead strikes out looking as well, and that's 3 outs for the inning. So great pitching effort and performance by both teams. First out was a ground out, then we had 2 strikeouts. So Hills Heat looking to give Rebels an extra chance. Maybe they're talking about the count.
Yes, well, it's 3 people going down looking now. I think I need to make an adjustment of that.
Well, you might have to wait another 100,000 games for this to happen again, but I think the Hall of Famer may have made a mistake on that strikeout call.
Oh, no. Really? Somebody should take a photo of this and frame it.
We'll just have to double check with plate umpire Neville Lawrence to make sure it's 3 strikes for an out in this game. 2 balls, 2 strikes is the count. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt just once. What do you reckon? Well, maybe he was predicting the next pitch. Who knows? Who knows? There you go. Now the 3rd out has been made, and that one is going to make the not top 10 plays of the year, as I get a wink from David Muggleton.
I think it could get in, I reckon, the top 10. Even the best make mistakes.
Well, there you go. I'm just glad I was here to see it. All right. Thank you to everyone who's watching at home. We normally try to be interactive in between the innings breaks, and thank everyone for watching, and of course our broadcast partners. So bringing all the live coverage and replays across the following on Softball SA Facebook page, YouTube channel and Instagram, live streaming the highlights and all the big plays. You can catch the action at home from the comfort of your couch on NITV, Channel 34 on SBS, and of course Fox 144 and their free view app. So starting Sunday the 17th of November on NITV, the coverage will resume 12:30 in the afternoon, 90 minutes earlier Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time on the free view app and Fox 144. So Channel 44 as well, pick up our coverage. We saw the semi-final replay last night on Channel 44, so thanks again to Channel 44 for your support as well. So ready to go for the top of the 3rd inning. We've got another tight one here, Lee. It's 0-0. Hills Heat versus the Glenelg Rebels. Our first look at both teams this year, and they sit 5th and 6th respectively on the ladder, and not out of it yet. We're about a quarter of the way through the season. Glenelg Rebels have been looking very sharp. 7 runs for, which might be a bit of trouble, but only 6 runs against. The 2nd best defensive record in the league, after, of course, top of the table West Torrens.
Especially against the top 4 sides at this stage. Not many runs against, and they're really good to top 4.
Amber Hood, we're back to the top of the order and the game's original leadoff hitter, and Amber Hood. 2 balls to start off, so she gets herself into a good hitting count. That first one low and inside, the next one high and outside, but she showed bunt on that one. I'm suggesting she'll go back to a swing at this one now.
You see what I mean about Zoe? Her expression never changes from pitch to pitch.
Ball 3. That one had some dip to it, so good control. 3 balls. You're putting the cue away here, Lee, to try and get the lead off.
I am. Leading off, take as many pitches as you can here. Take 2.
High for ball 4. So a 4-ball walk. We have not seen Zoe struggle with control at all so far this season, and
Well, that was
For-
out of character,
yeah.
wasn't it, really? Completely out of character for Zoe.
Well, there you go. We see it happen to the umpires. Some of them make mistakes, and we see it happen to the pitchers as well. Chantel Lewis watches that one go through high for a ball, so make that 5 in a row, Lee.
Yes.
Checks the signal from coach and older brother Scott Humphreys. She's got to be looking to move the runner here. That one was out of the zone and would have been a ball, but she's had a bit of a swing at it, really. Didn't hold the bat still at all, and maybe a push punt. 2 balls, 1 strike, the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. That one's low, and a better attempt at a bunt, but she gets over the top of that one and fouls it off. So
The problem I have here, James, is she's needing to move the runner on. You need to get round a lot earlier with a pitcher throwing this pace at you. Get around. Everyone knows you were trying to bunt.
high, fouls it off. Is that catches interference? Catches interference.
Yep.
All right, so catches interference here as the batter swings and clips the glove of catcher Montana Edwards.
Catches.
And just getting confirmation from the Hall of Famer on the catches interference. So runners safely on first and second. So a bit of a chance for the Hills heat there, Lee, because Chantel was behind in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, what are you doing here? I'm passing her up right here and now.
Well, she got her single in her first at bat, and
can't let her bat here.
And she didn't really give a full swing either. So if she has a full cut at this one,
you're asking for trouble letting her bat.
That's out of the zone, and Georgia doesn't want that one. She wants it just slightly in a little bit,
where she can reach it.
Double steal attempt, and Pogue's got her work cut out for her to take that one. Diving full stretch.
Fantastic take from Tori, wasn't it? Looked to be clear from our position, and she's there.
The double steal for the Hills Heat. Georgia came round to fake bunt, and Tori at full stretch. Still try to lay that tag, and Amber in safely. Called strike right at the bottom of the zone. So 2 balls and 1 strike the count on Georgia. So she's still ahead of the count.
Not too late to pass her up.
Well, with runners on second and third now. Good time to do it, you'd think. Change up. Looked like a change up, but just maybe came out the hand a little different.
Yeah, back of the hand, I think.
3 balls, 1 strike. For Georgia Hood, 2 runners in scoring position. Hills Heat threatening with none out here in the top of the third. That pitch was absolutely terrific, because that's the only place that a batter probably wouldn't be swinging with the 3-1. That one that's right down low on the outside edge of the plate, right at the bottom of the zone, is also precision pitching from Connolly.
Something's happening here.
Payoff pitch, high for a ball. So although third runner aboard with no outs and the bases are now loaded, probably not too bad an outcome for the Glenelg Rebels, with the champ not able to advance the runners.
Well, you wouldn't think Alex and Danny and Courtney would hit the ball as far as George would with people on base. Although Danny came up with the triple.
Lee, that one just clocked in at 105. So Zoe Connolly with loaded bases just turned it up a notch. 105, but it was just down and low of the zone. Alex Mackey gets a good piece. Goes foul. So they've had a couple of those so far. They're pretty close to the foul line, but didn't stay in play. That would have scored 2 or 3.
Yeah, the ones that have been hit have been up a bit too, so Zoe will have to watch this, or Montana, if she's given the instructions.
No outs, loaded bases. Mackie 1-1 the count. High for a ball 2. Well, Conley's thrown 2 walks this inning, and she's slightly behind in the count here. And
keep the pitch down and use your infielders. Get her to hit the ball to the infield.
just
Not
goes
like that.
right side again.
Yep, and that was up again. If Alex is getting a clean, even swing at the ball on those high ones, I'm not throwing her the game. Make her hit the ball to the infield.
Yeah, if she gets anything right side, you'd think Amber Hood will take off on the hit. As long as it's on the ground, of course. Low for a ball, and that one
was on the ground.
That slow change up, geez, that floats in, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like it's got wings. It just.
Yep. It's got nothing on it.
Mackie. Full count. Swing and a miss. That great pitch on the outside edge. It looks like a bit of a go-to for Zoe Conley, and it's done the damage every out. So far, she's been involved with 5. That's now 6 strikeouts. She had that ground out on that bunt play as well. So,
well, they'll remember where where Danny hit the ball last time. They will not throw it where she can hit it there again.
Called strike, 99 Ks an hour. Conley just getting on with her work, isn't she? She's doesn't look flustered with the loaded bases, just with the 1 out. Low.
And here with the right fielder, Megan Wheatley, she's far too deep in my opinion. Danny's put it out deep last time. Well, will she do it twice? I don't think so. She needs to be in to catch the ball, because if it lands, it's probably going to be 2 runs.
Inside for ball 2. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Perez gets herself into a good hitting count. Her triple last inning came off the first pitch, and she's seen a few more pitches this turn at bat. Big cart from Perez. Tried to pull that one. Would have been better off, just like she did her first turn at bat, and driving through the ball and going with it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. She's gone up the grip as well.
She's
a bit of extra control.
Keep the pitch inside here.
Edwards setting up inside. Low for a ball. So
right choice.
Conley goes to another full count lead.
Yep. See, the left fielder and the centre fielder are far too deep in my opinion. Ball lands between the bat and them. It's 2 runs.
Swing and a foul to Perez. Well, that's what a good piece of the ball your first turn it back can do, doesn't it? Just puts it in the back of the fielders and the coach's mind that, well, Perez put the first turn at bat to the fence. If she's on today, you know, let's go back a little bit and maybe only give up 1 run rather than 3.
Well, the situation demands you come in. You need the ball caught here.
Swing and a miss. Danny Perez, a good turn at bat, but even better was the response from Conley. Make it 6 strikeouts.
Well, it was only the innings before that Danny hit the long ball, and Zoe and Montana were awake up to it.
Make that 7 strikeouts in the game. Courtney May for the heat, gets a piece and just dribbles foul. So we know that Courtney May can put the ball deep into the outfield. She always seems to pop up for the Hills Heat, and prior to that for the West Torrens Eagles. So a handy player, middle order. Needs to get this one out in front for the green team.
Well, the green team, as you mentioned, James, they've had plenty of chances so early in the game. Don't want to leave them all out there this time.
Yeah, they've had a few runners on, haven't they? They've left runners on base every inning so far. 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and now they've got 3 here in the third. Fouls this off, and the 3 came with no outs. walk, catches interference, double steal, and another walk. We saw Perez go to a full count. We saw Mackie go to a full count. She's thrown a lot of pitches this inning. Another one as Courtney May stays alive.
Well, they've been aggressive, haven't they, Hills, with the stick?
Slightly controlled aggression, because I mentioned in the first inning that for every batter, the first pitch was a called strike, you know, and they were laying off it, and then they were aggressive in the second inning. In this inning, they've seen a lot of pitches, so controlled aggression. There you go, Courtney May will see yet another pitch in this inning. Connolly doesn't like that one, but I'm not sure she's got a choice. There's no other balls, they've all been fouled off.
That's been rejected by your pitcher.
How many batters we had so far this inning? We've had. This is the 6th batter of the inning. I reckon she's probably been up around about 25 pitches already. Long inning for Conley. 102 Ks. Another foul ball from Courtney May.
Well, I'd be going with the outside pitch now, James. Just
What's worked for her all game so far.
She's looking to shorten up.
Great take, Montana Redwoods. That saved a run. It was high and outside the zone. Obviously a waste pitch because May has been fouling everything off so far. Third strikeout of the inning, 8th of the game for Conley, and she leaves the Hills Heat with bases loaded. They've had 6 runners on base. They've left them all on. Great defense from the Rebels.
First 3 got on, the next 3 got struck out.
Wow, that is terrific composure from Conley. Thanks to everyone watching at home. I'll say good day to a few people. Matthew Calkin, I missed you on Thursday night, mate. I didn't see the comment till later. So g'day to you, Australian Special Olympics softball, and Matthew Calkin. G'day, mate. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. A couple of comments on Neville's call from earlier, and Marcy Trzynski supporting the Cow Bear. Way to come back, Zoe. Thank you, everyone who's watching at home. G'day to Mark, he's watching at home as well. Other games today, Lee. Sturt Falcons versus Port Adelaide Magpies. 3rd versus 4th, probably game of the round.
Cracker, a cracker.
Both played 5 games. Sturt with 4 wins and 1 loss. Port 3 wins, 2 losses. They've both only given up 8 runs in those 5 games each. They have not played each other yet, and so this may be a game to determine 3rd spot. Back to the action here. Glenelg Rebels, Ivana Malkova up to bat. So the Hills Heat have actually been majority of the way through their lineup twice, whereas Glenelg Rebels haven't got through their order yet. High for a ball, being given a stat here. 33 pitches in that last inning for Conley for a total of 67 in the game. So Hills Heat really making her work, whereas Georgia Hood has been in relative control. Courtney May gets her hand up to block the sun. Very good play, because we've seen a couple of those catch our fielders out over the last couple of weeks with the early afternoon sun. So the first out is Malkova. The 9 hitter in the order is Glenelg Rebels pitcher Zoe Conley. I reckon the imports would be loving playing in Adelaide. Not only is it terrific weather, fantastic softball competition, but they get a chance to bat as well.
And there's a lot of lovely people to play with, isn't there, T? That's what I've been told from some of the imports.
Change of pace, Georgia Hood. That one comes in at 75 Ks. Ahead of the count early. That one was right there to be hit, and Conley gets a taste of her own medicine, Lee. It's always good to see a dominant pitcher get some of their own sometimes, but unfortunate for Glenelg. Zoe Conley is the second out of the inning. We go back to the top of their order though, and Caitlin Carroll, who was aboard with a single in her first turn at bat. Swing and a miss at the first pitch, which she was the first and only base runner for the Rebels.
Now, he'd have had 6 base people on base
And
scoring none.
since Caitlin Carroll got on, Hills Heat have retired the next 8.
Tells you how well George is pitching. And well caught by Georgia Ballard too. She's doing a terrific job.
Just off the inside, top of the handle, and Georgia Hood at full strength takes a good catch in the end. So that'll end the third inning with, although the score's tied at 0-0, it feels like the Hills Heat have all the momentum. They've retired 9 in a row, and they've left 6 runners on board. It's 0-0 after the third inning. Lee, we mentioned the other games that are on today. Sturt Falcons, Port Adelaide Magpies, 3rd versus 4th. Falcons actually looking to bounce back after their first loss of the year. They're 4 wins and 1 loss. They dropped a game to West Torrens in a 5-1 game. Port Adelaide's last game was against Hills Heat, and they won midweek 7-1. So, you know, one team coming in with some momentum and some confidence, whereas the other team looking to bounce back. What do you reckon on that one? Who's your pick?
Well, my pick would be Port normally, but I think Abby Mossman won't be playing. Somebody tells me she has a break from Thursday night. Have you heard
Abby
that?
Mossman?
Yeah, Abby Mossman, yep.
Well, thoughts to Abby. Let's hope she's okay. That it's not as bad as what you're suggesting, but...
well, I'm not. I'm just.
I'll have to keep my eye out for that. Thanks for letting me know. I'll follow that one up. The other game for tonight is Seacombe versus Walkerville. Two-time defending champion Walkerville Cats, 4 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. Headed up from Jesse Jurassic versus the Seacombe Tigers, who are yet to open their account. 5 games, 5 losses, and they're struggling to put a run on the board. So that one might be a little one-sided, but best of luck to both teams in that game.
Yeah, well, now we're with batters 7, 8, 9. Georgia Ballard, Maddie Rocha, and Mackenzie Ween. Well, that missed by plenty, didn't it?
Yeah, sure did. So obviously had some trouble with her footing there. She does some ground repairs. Came out a bit slower as well, 91 k. So obviously something happened in the delivery. Georgia Ballard gets to see one as well. Outside again, this one at 89. So she needs to probably take her time here, find a rhythm and a groove and a safe spot to land. But Georgia Ballard could probably take full toll if this one's in and around the mark, because she's got herself into a good hitters count.
Well, that's it. 2-0, free hit.
3-0. Also down on pace as well, 89.
Pitching very carefully to a player like George, with no disrespect to Georgia Ballard, but you'd think you'd be gunning hard, wouldn't you, at the
14, 15 years of age.
Yep.
Oh, 3-0 count gives
Nice
herself
piece.
a green light. A laser beam line drive straight back to the glove of Conley. She didn't move. I think the ball was hit into her glove. We might be able to see that on the statewide super replay, but she hit that one hard, Georgia Ballard, for the first out. Maddie Rocha, the hitter.
Yeah, George couldn't hit it any harder. I think if Zoe wasn't awake by then, I don't think anything would wake her up. It was going. It's the nature of our game, though, James, isn't it? You can do a line drive and get nothing, just sit back on the bench, or you can miss-hit the ball and get a couple of bases. That's what makes it interesting.
It hurts you in the field. you feel a little lucky when you do it as a batter, but it is part of the game, isn't it? Lee, we said at the top of the game, like early in the game, that Connolly doesn't look like she's really putting everything into it, and she was clocking in at 100.
What's happened?
There's not been one pitch over 90 k's an hour this inning.
No, I don't know what's going on here. Whether Montana's calling something different, but throwing 3 high wide balls in a row, pitches.
Well, to bat a 7, 8, 9 as well.
Yeah, that's it.
You'd want to get out of this inning as quickly as possible. However, just mixing up the pace is also a tactic in itself, isn't it? Because you've let 6 runners get on base, and so maybe a change of tactics just for something different. 83 k's an hour.
Yeah, she took a bit off of that, and Maddie was able to get her around to third. Excuse me, on the third base line, but foul. I'm going hard, James, if I'm pitching here.
Two and two, the count here. Maddie Rocha. Another change of pace. This one's even slower, 73 k's.
So this is obviously a tactic, don't you think? Surely.
Well, another batter making Connolly throw a lot of pitches. The last batter went 3-0 before she swung. Piece of this, and good play from Pogue at shortstop. Finally gets in the game, and we get to see
nice play.
The young American in action. Statewide Super replay. Good little grounder. Almost got it up the middle, but Pogue up to the challenge from Idaho, Lee.
Yep.
We spoke to her a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
Yep. Boise, Idaho. Famous for potatoes. Idaho.
And Tori Pogue.
And Tori Pogue. Not necessarily in that order.
Mackenzie Ween, the hitter for the Hills Heat. Swing and a miss at the first one. Probably a little low. Gets out of the way of this one for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. K's.
Where's the quick stuff, James?
Well, it's kind of worked. I mean, she hasn't given up a base runner this inning, so
no,
it's...
but she's thrown a lot of pitches.
I'm not sure what to say. It's almost like, it's not, I know she's not trying, and I know it's not that she's not trying, but wow, it's such a change, isn't it? And that's going to happen when you slow it down. Mackenzie Ween with a ripper of a shot to the right side, and runner aboard for the Hills Heat, so they get another base runner. But we're up to the top of the order for the Hills Heat, and these are the batters you don't want to take it easy on, because they'll make you pay. Mackenzie Ween on the replay. Good piece of the ball, getting her hands across to the outside, safely aboard.
It's not, no, I can't fathom this, sorry. I'm throwing heat to 7, 8, and 9 every innings.
Outside edge for a ball.
I think they were looking for the pick-off then, but Mackenzie was up to it.
This one goes foul. 2 out. 2 balls, 1 strike on Amber Hood. It's the 3rd time around in the order for the Hills Heat. Still got 30-odd minutes to go. Swing and a miss, so really trying to punish this Glenelg Rebels defense. Big swing, but a miss to Amber Hood. So she connects on this one. It's going to go to the fence. She's got that ability to drive one into the fence onto the full. It's a timeout. Little cat and mouse between pitcher and batter. It's a and now the coach Scott Humphreys will have a word to his hitter, and probably pretty important time of the game as well, because with 35 minutes left to go, a runner on first, you've left 6 runners on base already. As we just mentioned before, we start with a countdown timer now. Countdown timer starts at 85 minutes, so when we reach 0, no new innings can start. But from a perspective of this game, they say 90 minutes, no new innings with 5 minutes to go, but if you start an inning, you must complete it. Amber Hood gets struck out yet again on that outside edge, so the 2nd time in this game that's happened. And the Hills Heat have threatened again with a base runner, and although only 4 batters, Zoe Connolly's thrown a lot of pitches again in that inning, so the Hills Heat are definitely threatening. But what defense from this Glenelg Rebels team, and a pitching performance from Zoe Connolly, one that we probably haven't seen before. It was hard and it was down and it was challenging for Hills Heat. They started to get on top, and then she just came in that inning and just started to throw a little bit of off speed, some change of pace, and she was able to maintain it. So good pitching in the end from Zoe Connolly and the Glenelg Rebels.
Yeah, it certainly is. And will they rue this? 7 people on base, I think, so far for the green team. But they're getting them on without success.
Well, we're back, of course, next Saturday with live softball action, thanks to Spacequake Sports. The game will be between the Port Adelaide Magpies and the Walkerville Cats, so it should be a great clash. So next Saturday afternoon, Softball SA, Spacequake Sports, and we'll see the Cats and the Pies. But don't forget, it's back. Thursday night, fully loaded softball, 7 p.m. right here on Softball SA. It was absolutely thrilling and entertaining and super fun night on Thursday night. Not even the cold, wet and windy weather could dampen the mood that was happening throughout the place. The venue was packed. The 3 teams gave some exciting softball, and it was absolutely non-stop. Megan Wheatley gets a shot out to right field and just out of reach of Courtney May. Rebels with a leadoff runner aboard, and maybe this is an opportunity here for the Rebels as we go to Bree McGee, number 3 hitter in the lineup, and then Tori Pogue batting 4.
It's only their 2nd runner on base during this game so far for the Rebels. Maybe this is the innings.
Good bunt from McGee.
Perfectly executed bunt.
And wasting no time as well. So Bree McGee puts Megan Wheatley into scoring position for Tori Pogue. And if the Hills Heat haven't been able to capitalise on their runners on base so far, maybe they shouldn't take any chances with this young lady up to bat. She's a very capable hitter, and we've seen her damaging. Couple of walks against Steph Trzynski. She got a hit against Jessie Dressick, so she can hit against the best of our pitchers here. Gets after this one and fouls it off.
She's got some strength about her, James, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's got good size about her, hasn't she? She's tall, but I think it's a deceptive height because she's in proportion. She looks strong and fit. one bounces in, ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. One runner on base. That's Megan Wheatley on second.
Only 2 on base in 4 innings for the Rebels. So can they make this count? That's what you got to do, don't you, really? Get people on, get them scoring.
This ball is a long shot.
It's long, it's
Over! Great call, Lee. Tori Pogue gets all of that one. Travels the journey, and just like that, the Glenelg Rebels go 2 runs up on a home run from Tori Pogue. Smashes that one, the statewide super replay. She's happy too. Pump of the fist.
Well, it was strength, wasn't it? Strength and timing. Look at that.
Yeah, Maddie Rocha looked like she was tracking it well, but she ran out of room and into the fence. Tori Pogue, a 2-run home run. Back to live action. Georgia Hood straight back into the strike zone for a called strike on Montana Edwards. And although it has been the Hills heat with the offensive pressure, Glenelg Rebels, they've got the lead.
Well, haven't had many opportunities, as I said before. 2 on, and 3 batters score 2 runs. That's terrific.
Just the 7 runs scored for the season so far for Glenelg Rebels, so that extra 2 just then takes them up to 9 in their 6th game. Tori Pogue just adds some extra firepower, doesn't she? Just what the Rebels need.
It's just clean as a whistle it went.
Montana Edwards just jammed up a little bit there. Alex Mackey's got
It looked
just
like she
out
was
of
going.
average.
It looked like Montana was going check shot then. That finished, you know. But no harm done. She bats on.
Yeah, a bit of a check swing, I think.
Yep.
Lee, I think you called it right there. 2-2. Great pitch, outside edge. And Montana's catching for the Rebels. She's had that called all game, so she should know better as the second out is made in the bottom of the 4th inning. So time is going to be against the Hills Heat unless they can get a move on here, make a quick 3rd out of this inning. Megan Lambert it is for the Glenelg Rebels with the job to see a few pitches, get the ball into play and continue this fantastic bottom half of the 4th inning for the Glenelg Rebels. Both teams with just the 1 win. And looking to add to their account. Lambert with a foul ball to the right side, just off of it, Lee.
Yeah, more like Regan.
Change of pace from Hood, but that one just outside. I've hardly mentioned the fully loaded softball, Lee. Regan Lambert playing for one of our franchisees, the MFSA Nan Angels. She got a nice hit in one of their games, so she's shown a bit of form so far from what I've seen of late.
Right, well, that's good.
Was struck out for a first turn at bat, but has gone to a full count in this one. High, and a walk for Regan Lambert. terrific inning from the Glenelg Rebels. As we just recap the inning, it was Megan Wheatley that got on from a missed opportunity and a drop fly ball out to right field. Bree McGee, perfect execution, laid down a bunt to sacrifice herself and move Wheatley into scoring position, and then a Tori Pogue blast to deep centre field and a 2-run shot before Montana Edwards watched one go past the outside edge for a strikeout, and then Regan Lambert with a base on balls. It has been a terrific inning for the Rebels.
Taken their chances, haven't they, and grabbed them with both hands. And the green team needs to get out of this innings now and see what they can do about nibbling away at this lead of 2 runs.
That one's in there for a called strike. Evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls and 1 strike. Just getting ahead of myself. The scoreboard was correct. That's the called strike at 2 and 2 now.
I'd be stealing on this pitch.
Yeah, that's a good call actually, Lee. A good coaching decision to steal with 2 out. You're not really going to lose anything here. None of the fielders were really moving around, and
they weren't.
She'll go this pitch anyway, full count with 2 out.
But that's why I said it, because neither of the middle infielders were moving before that.
Well, the runner should be going on that pitch, but she barely broke off the base as the ball was fouled off, so Alicia Mead now, payoff pitch. Back-to-back walks for the Rebels.
And Regan was going back to the base on that, so obviously not aware of the count.
Timeout called from Hills Heat head coach Scott Humphreys. First season of A-grade coaching here in the Adelaide Club competition. He has got some good coaching experience. Coaches the men's team at Valley View, and previously to that the Roadrunners in the Northern Area men's competition, but also has experience coaching both their women's sides in the Central Districts competition. Roadrunners and Valley View. Roadrunners softball club has got some good heritage and good pedigree out of that club. Out at Central Districts.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of good players come down here from there.
Any come to mind, Lee?
James Harris, I was thinking of.
Oh, well, there you go. It's a terrific competition out north in the Central Districts and Northern Area men's. If you're living out that way, contact your local club. Back to the action, Hills Heat. Got their backs against the wall now, Lee, haven't they? They had all the momentum in the game. They've had all the base runners, and then just like that, in the blink of an eye, they're now travelling 2-0. There's 2 runners on base.
Just got to get out of this innings.
And there's only about 20 minutes to go. Malkova gets a piece of the ball. The check drives it to the left side. It goes all the way to the fence. Regan Lambert will score. Alicia Mead scores, and Malkova stands at third. And a 4-run inning to the Rebels.
Well, James, the check has cashed in on that pitch, hasn't she? Alvana cashed right in on it. Well done to the check, young lady.
Statewide Super Replay shows it, and they had a close-up just then, and she had a massive smile on her face. So,
as you would, yeah.
4 runs, Lee.
They've come from nothing, haven't they, really?
Yeah. Is it going to be enough? The Hills Heat have some fight left in them.
They got to get out of the innings to do something with the bat. So, need the next out.
Pick-off attempt from Georgia Ballard. Young catcher has been flawless so far, if you ask me, Lee. I haven't put the jinx on her here at all. 14 years of age. Turning 15 soon.
I'm thinking if I've given up 4 runs as a team, I'm not going pick-off. at third.
Sometimes you just try and make something happen out there on the diamond.
Well, they'll make something happen by striking Zoe out here, perhaps. It's been a long innings time-wise, James.
Yeah, it sure has been. The Hills Heat have succumbed to a little bit of offensive pressure, given up a few runs and another walk, make it 3 in the inning. And a timeout will be called. I would say that's to replace Zoe Connolly, the pitcher, with a pinch runner. Well, Lee, let's quickly recap. Again, we said it before, and if you want to know how they've put the 4 runs on this inning, it was a dropped fly ball out to right field from Megan Wheatley. She was advanced by Bree McGee in a sacrifice bunt. A home run from Tori Pogue. Strikeout to Montana. A walk to Regan Lambert. Alicia Mead back-to-back walks. Ivana Malkova hit a 2-run triple before Zoe Conley saw 4 balls. And we go to the top of the order and the 9th batter of the inning for Caitlin Carroll.
Yes, and running, it's Amber Dodd-Mobius running for Zoe.
Thanks for that, as Georgia Ballard just lets that one get under the glove. And Clee, I was just going to say they need a ground ball to get out of this inning. However, not before Malkova takes full toll of a pass ball. So what Super Replay will show it there, that it just got between the glove and the ground for Ballard.
Well, it was a ground ball, all right, but the wrong direction.
Chantel Lewis takes a catch to end the inning. And the Rebels put 5 on the board. They'd only scored 7 in the season, Lee, before that inning.
Went through the lineup, that innings.
9 batters, 5 runs scored. And after 4 complete innings, the Glenelg Rebels lead the Hills Heat 5 runs to 0. Well, heaps going on social media. Got a bunch of viewers, heaps of comments, so thank you for that. Keep them coming. We'll try to get to your comments when we can, because we love to be interactive and get you, the viewer, involved. So thanks very much to you all for your contribution. Katie Sutherland Finch is watching. That name just popped up there. She's able to see a couple of her fellow Cal Bear alumni playing in this matchup, Zoe Connolly and Tori Pogue.
There's 5 runs.
5 runs, yeah.
Umpire and the scorer, official scorer, have only got 4. Here's the 5.
Tori Pogue hit a 2-run shot.
That's
and
2.
Then Ivana Malkova scored both the girls who got walks in Regan Lambert and Alicia Mead, and then Malkova scored on that pass ball for 5.
That's 5.
Oh, I don't believe it. We've in the one game, Lee, how about this? In the one game, Neville Lawrence has made a mistake and Lindy Radigan's made one as well.
Huge mistakes, both of them.
And look, I know I'm perfect, Lee.
Well, I'm not perfect, James, but I'm that close it scares me.
I've got to admit, it's nice to know that we're all human, and we cannot do it without the support of our officials, and we're very grateful for the work and the contribution that they give to the sport. Neville Lawrence, a long-time state umpire-in-chief, and Lindy Radigan, of course, the current and long-serving state scoring coordinator. So thank you so much to our volunteers. Chantel Humphreys, or Chantel Lewis now, married name.
Seems to be finding her form just lately. She's been off the scene for a while, and a good player when she's going, Chantel. Jump, as they call her.
Just a conversation between Scott Humphreys, head coach of the Hills Heat, and plate umpire Lawrence. Maybe there was a... did they have a change?
He's been in the game a lot today, umpire Lawrence.
Well, Lewis needs to settle here. We're about 12 minutes away before no new innings can start. So you would think if they're going to get back into the game, they need to be pretty quick, smart about it.
Bang, 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 bang is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but the Rebels don't look like they're in any hurry at the moment.
As you wouldn't be.
Plenty of energy though. Tori Pogue at shortstop jumping and bouncing around, and Lewis swing and
It's
a miss.
good pitch, isn't it? 92.
Nice piece of the ball, Chantel Lewis, and it's too hot for Malkova at second base as she just allows that one to sneak under the glove, and a bit of life now for the Hills Heat, and Chantel Lewis reaches base. A leadoff on for the Heat brings up to bat Georgia Hood. Conley into her action, and Hood gets aggressively after this first pitch. So we've seen Chantel aggressively swinging. We've now seen Georgia aggressively swinging. So obviously a tactic from Hills Heat coach Scott Humphreys has said, righto girls, we're starting to run out of time here. Let's get some runs on the board.
Well, what about we have 2 home runs in the one game, James? One from each team. So if she floats one up there in the high part of the zone, I'm thinking Georgia's going to clear the fence.
Conley has got a little bit of extra dip. She takes the pace off the ball and a little bit of extra dip. So maybe that's where the tactic has come from, to start to throw a little bit more off speed just for a bit more control and variation. All right, outside edge for a ball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Lee, your predictions are generally on the money, and if anyone wants to see the Hills Heat get back in the game, it's going to be this young lady here. Cut at the ball, goes foul, just to stay alive in the count, but also if there's anyone that's good enough to do it, it's this batter as well. She has already got 1 home run so far this year. That was against Seacombe in their only win. It was a 2-0 win. This one goes right side. It's going to travel just foul of the line.
Zoe has to keep the ball down, doesn't she, really? Georgia's first turn, the bat went up the middle, grounder. That won't hurt him, but one over the top might.
Swing and a miss, a great variation yet again from Conley. 91 Ks, a dipper on the outside edge, which has been her hotspot, you'd say, Lee, for this matchup. She has a whole bunch of strikeouts. I'll get you to count them up for me. 1 out, runner on first. Alex Mackey, the hitter for the Hills Heat. Running bunt attempt. Trying to get things going, and we have got 10 strikeouts for Conley.
Well, she's got the team out of 2 really hot innings, hasn't she? Through her skill.
Alex Mackey with a single, which will advance Chantel Lewis. So not done with yet, the Hills Heat. There's been a few hits, hasn't there? They haven't been without their opportunities. In fact, 7 base runners left on base before the start of this inning, so they've got another 2. There is 1 out. Statewide super replay to show Alex Mackey got on top of the ball and singled it up the middle. So Danny Perez, who has been one of the Hills Heat to get on base, she got a triple in her first turn at bat. Watching this one through for a low ball. Struck out the next time up to bat, which was the 2nd out of that inning where they left the bases loaded.
Perhaps she got a triple in the wrong part of the game.
Was about to show bunt, but pulled out. She was never going to touch that one. It was high and outside. It's a little bit of all or nothing now for the Hills Heat as the time just continues to tick away. The Glenelg Rebels playing this game at their pace here, and another running bunt attempt. So one out and still bunting, Lee, with time running out.
No, not for me, mate.
Top of the 5th inning. Danny Perez, low for a ball. This will do the job, advancing Mackey and Lewis to 2nd and 3rd respectively. The Hills Heat with runners back in scoring position. They need to capitalise right here and right now.
She needs to make something land out there on the green. Danny, just make it land.
Ball 4 and a walk, so bases loaded again for the Hills Heat. We've been here before. 1 out and Courtney May up to bat. Come on, Courtney, let's get the ball into play.
Well, you've said it about Courtney. We all know it. She'll come up with a hit when you least expect it. This could be the time. Lands, it's probably 1.5 runs.
Conley just dialing it up just a little bit more. It's back up to 97. So it's been a while since we've seen one up around the 3 figures.
Yeah, well, I think I'd be going slap here. Just trying to make contact, good contact with the ball. Leave the big swings to people like George, Alex, Danny. But it's better 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just try and get the ball into play.
Different kind of pitcher to Trzynski and Sutherland Finch, the 2 other Cal Bears pitchers that we've seen in this competition in the recent years.
Yep.
Haven't really seen her go to a rise ball yet, have we? Her weapon is her down ball. But also the variation that she's shown. We've seen it up at 105 as the fastest that we've seen in this game, but she has been consistent around the low 90s over the last 2 innings, which has been able to tie up these Hills Heat batters. Loaded bases, and Mead's going to have to play home. 2 outs made, a force out at home, and gee, when you think things are going in the way of the Hills Heat, Glenelg Rebels just have stood up all game, and they deserve to be in front as well. They've had the one good inning. Georgia Ballard with a hit. Up the middle, Caitlin Carroll just lets it get past her, and 2 runs will score. Mackey and Perez. 2 out, so catch a speed up rule.
Number 10.
Catch a speed up is Danny Perez. Maddie Rocha, the hitter. So, a ball game. 5 runs to 2, but have the Hills Heat run out of chances?
It was interesting because Caitlin Carroll got to the ball, but then errored it, made the 2nd run come in. That's what I've got, 2 runs.
2 out,
5 to 2.
5 to 2 with 2 out. Rocha, slow grounder. Pogue has her job cut out for her, but gets it.
No problems.
No problems, and fires it across for the 3rd out. Hills Heat leave another couple of base runners on base, and
that's how Maddie Rocha got out the previous inning, previous turn at bat.
Lee, that is going to be how the story of the game, isn't it? Hills Heat are going to lament the chances that they didn't take when they had them.
They made plenty of chances.
Capitalised this inning with 2 runs, but it's been the ability to string them together that has been their downfall. They've had great chances and opportunities, a fair few walks and a couple of hits. Zoe Conley standing up with 10 strikeouts, and then that 5-run inning for the Glenelg Rebels. All the damage done from the Rebels in that 4th inning. Well, we're back to the lady who started things off. on that 5-run inning. It was Megan Wheatley. And no doubt that the Glenelg coaching staff will be telling their batters to see as many pitches as possible because we are running low on time, as the graphic will show you. Amber Hood makes a quick out. And that is a comfortable catch taken from a infield fly ball. They need to get moving though out there. No time for throwing it around in high fives. There's one out. Bree McGee up to bat. They need another quick one if they're to go another inning.
Yes, it's interesting, the strikeouts. Georgia Hood's had 5 and Zoe Connolly's had 10.
Wasting no time, Georgia Hood. She gets the ball back onto the plate. Swing and a miss from McGee, so 1 ball and 2 strikes.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
This one goes to Amber Hood at shortstop, but couldn't take it after the second bounce. A runner on base for the Rebels, and that could be about it. Tori Pogue, the hitter for Glenelg Rebels, up to bat.
Come on, Tori, get greedy. Could she do another one, James?
That was the one to do it on if she was going to. One strike, the count on Pogue. Low for a ball.
Looks a player, doesn't she, in the batting box, James? You
Very
mentioned
confident.
it before, very confident.
That was pretty close. Georgia wanted that one. 2 balls and 1 strike. Gets away from Ballard. The runner, McGee, will stand up safely at second. And now we have a little deja vu for Pogue because when she hit a 2-run shot last inning, there was a runner on second. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Oh, Bree McGee could have quite easily gone through on that pass ball to third, but she wasn't looking and thought it was just one base. Got away from catcher here.
Absolutely professional turn at bat right there from Pogue. Couple of them pretty close to the zone that could have gone either way, but she didn't take the bat off his shoulder. Edwards also checking the first pitch, so all Glenelg batters trying to draw out their at-bats to ensure this inning doesn't go to us. This game doesn't go an extra inning. Ball 2. Georgia Hood still up around the 100 mark. 90 minutes into this game, so she's maintained her speed. Fires that one in, and
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, 4 base on balls each to each pitcher. So
2-2 the count, and interesting that you mentioned 4 for each. The 1 inning where Glenelg Rebels have scored, there was 3.
yep.
Pop up foul.
Same old story, James, isn't it? Doesn't matter how you get on base, as long as you get on base and become a potential run.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
2-2. 2 runners on. Pretty close, but a ball called.
This is the plan, isn't it?
See as many
Take
peaches
as,
as
see as
possible.
many as you can. Don't chase anything.
Ground ball, it just clips the top of the glove of the pitcher, Georgia Hood, and out of reach of everyone else. So a ground ball, get the ball into play, and both runners advance. So Glenelg Rebels now with loaded bases, and Regan Lambert up to bat when the bottom of the 5th. We're very low on time, and Glenelg Rebels have got a 5-run-to-2 lead. Lambert watches the first one. Just the 1 out as well. Check swing, yes, she did, says plate umpire Lawrence.
Good. One ball, 2 strikes.
And now ahead of the count, Georgia Hood. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
She's due here, Regan, though.
Outside edge for a ball to even it up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big cut at the ball from Lambert. 2nd out of the inning. 2 out. Loaded bases. Alicia Mead, the hitter for the Rebels. Catch a speed up rule. Montana Edwards will come off, and Regan Lambert will take her place at first. And I'm suggesting that this one might be the last batter, regardless if it's out or safe.
I think that's a very good call, James.
It's away from the catcher. Bree McGee's going to score from 3rd on that pass ball. It's 6 runs to 2 now. And it's just getting away from the Hills heat. A ball called, high ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Swing and a miss, evening the count at 2 and 2 with 2 runners on, 2 out. Bottom of the 5th inning, and the Glenelg Rebels sitting pretty, 6 runs to 2. High for a ball, and the sting, the feel of the game, it's just gone a little flat now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Seems to like halfway through there's been lots of base runners on.
Good shot, Alicia Mead. An RBI single, 2 runs will score. Regan Lambert crossing the plate. Time and game is called. So Alicia Mead, the last batter of the game.
Yeah, that's the Alicia Mead we remember.
2 runs scored off the bat. Both will count. 8 runs to 2. Glenelg Rebels run out victors over the Hills Heat and Lee. Yeah, we've got a little bit we can talk about, because that game was 2 halves, wasn't it? There was the a tight clash at the top of the game. No team able to break the deadlock. The Hills Heat left 7 base runners on base in the first 4 innings before Rebels took over the momentum of the game, didn't they? They were able to get some runners on base from a drop fly ball, and then a couple of walks, and then some good hitting to drive in some runs. And they put 5 spot on in the 5th inning to go ahead, and then they just scored another 3 in that inning. And
yeah. It's like you said, James, a game of two halves, but Hills, they'll be ruined their chances not to score them because they were in complete charge, weren't they? Had that many people on, as you mentioned, the amount of base runners, but you got to score them, don't you? And Rebels, when they got their chance, they only had 2 people on prior to that innings where they scored their runs. So, yeah. So, who would have guessed the score line would have been that? 8-2, not me.
8-2, no. Well, before the game, you would have probably thought that it would have been a bit closer. But you're right, the Hills will lament the chances missed because they were in a winning position, but not able to capitalise. So they will no doubt go back and reflect on that game and the chances that they had. What does that do for the ladder? Well, the Glenelg Rebels will now go to 2 wins and 1 draw and 5 points, 1 game out of the 4. Port Adelaide do have a game in hand. They play against the Sturt Falcons at 4 o'clock. And, well, if Sturt can win that one, we'll have a bit of separation between the top 3 teams. Hills Heat aren't out of it. They've played 7 games. You know, you play each team 4 times in the season. We are about a quarter of the way through now. They do only have the 1 win. They've given up a bunch of runs, so 48 runs in those 7 games, which is almost as much as a loss when all the teams are pretty close.
Yeah, well, it's too early to call for the end of the season, James, but they're all showing promising signs. I mean, how many times did Hills have green shirts out on base? You know, that's a sign for the future against Zoe.
I think 9. They left 9 on in the 5 innings that they played.
Yeah, and it's against Zoe, who we've been praising up, with her speed and all that.
She'd only given up 6 runs in 5 games, Zoe Connolly, in the Glenelg Rebels defence. And so to put 2 runs on board and leave, 7, 8 runners on base for the whole game.
So there's things to work on, isn't there? Long way to go.
Well, that will just about do it here at West Beach for Adelaide Club competition action. Tune in Thursday night for fully loaded softball action, 7 p.m. Cannot wait for round 2 of the fully loaded softball action next Saturday. Glenelg, Port Adelaide Magpies versus Walkerville Cats. It was the Glenelg Rebels that ran out victors over the Hills Heat today. 8 runs to 2. Thank you, Lee, and everyone at home for joining us.
Thank you, James, and likewise, and good afternoon to you all.
Thanks to all our broadcast partners, Bob Burns Blinds, MC Sportwear, Statewide Super CBS and Mindlab. To Spacequake Sports and the team that bring us the action each week, thank you very much. Quality product, the best softball action in the country. We will see you all Thursday night.